lost to Bro earlier last week as well. So, you know, it hasn't been all flying colors for DNS. Earlier last week, they did get 2-0'd by Hume DRX, but what we've seen over the last 5 or so days has definitely been better for DNS.
That is true. For Nongshim, you absolutely need to win this matchup. It is imperative to make sure that you can keep yourself in contention for play-ins. Rumble and Poppy banned here by the DN Supers first. Charvel's Vi will be taken away, which we have not seen find a lot of success recently in round 3 here at the LCK. Peter's Camille, a little bit of a different story. Having a lot of fun on that pick. Not necessarily in the early laning phase, but outside of it, as Nocturne will be the final ban here for DN Supers. And now I wonder what the game plan is here. They're leaving all the mid lanes up because we've seen a little bit more giving over the Orianna as of late as well.
Yeah, I think you ban Cassiopeia, especially with Nocturne taken away, just because first pick Cassiopeia feels a lot stronger if you don't have to deal with Orianna and Nocturne together. But they're going to ban Shen instead, so both of those big supports taken away from Peter.
I find this to be interesting because Bard is also up.
Yeah, and his Bard was awesome in Cassiopeia.
Yeah.
I gave him 2 POGs.
So I think
He didn't win them, but
I think Lehens is going to have to take that away. So they won't necessarily get the counterpick to the Cassiopeia right here. Although I suppose they can and still get the Bards. They could go Orianna Bard here. And Orianna and Bard do pair well together.
Orianna Jarvan.
Well, that's the more common pick, but Duckdom and Peter get Caitlyn Bard if they want it now, which is pretty scary, especially with how well they've been playing those picks right now and how good Duckdom has been historically on the Caitlyn. So we're Nongshim Red Force watching because you guys are in the finals. You got to study up. They're coming for you, Nongshim.
I hope so.
As it is just going to be the Lee Sin priority here instead, which also makes sense because Charvel's a great Lee Sin. It's actually been target banned against him a ton in recent days. And I would argue this is his best pick, even better than his Kiana. So that one comes here first, even though the Kiana has been a more common response into the Jarvan.
Yeah, I see a lot of Cassiopeia Lee Sin if it gets left open too, so looks like they just want to go for that 1-2. It does mean that they don't get that bottom duo, but they do get this guy, Wolf.
Kingen gonna play Heimerdinger? Nope. I don't think so.
Maybe Jax?
I think Jax is much more likely. And I think that will be slam locked here, in fact. Jax is also a great ball carrier for the Orianna. We've got the Jarvan already.
Yeah, you can threaten Lulu comps as well.
The Jax Olaf matchup is incredibly volatile. Even though the Jax is considered a counter pick, if you mess it up, they're really far behind. Oh, it's my favorite. It's Kled. I finally get to cast a Kled game in the LCK. Oh, I love it. This has been hovered a ton as a counter pick. Has never been picked this year. And actually, I think it has not been picked in the LCK domestically here for several years. That's a Broken Blade special. And we're not going to see him playing it today. It's Kingen instead. As the Lucian gets banned away, the Bard obviously not going to make it through if they do not take it. So that one's gone now as well. Maybe a Lulu ban here could be considered. Got a great front line.
Yeah, Lulu seems pretty strong in general. Lucian gets taken away, so no Lucian Amelia lock.
Bottom lane, I think was. I mean, that's kind of a Nongshim flavored thing to do, but I don't think that DNS were planning on it in this draft.
Yeah, I don't think you really have to worry about that. Seems like a pretty interesting ban, but maybe they know something we don't.
In the very beginning of Kespa Cup, we did see Lock played in the bottom lane a few times, but has not really been ever since. Peter's got Aura. The cameraman got a little spooked, but it's fine.
Yeah, don't want to zoom in too close to Peter. He'll get you. So now they have to pick a solo pick.
Yeah, it's going to have to be a blind pick. I think the support is probably the better option, unless I guess you want to get Ezreal here. There's not a lot of counters to this, but you are walking face first potentially into a Kalista lane, which is very scary. And we have seen Duckdom just recently pick up a POG. We saw POGs in Kespa Cup.
Yeah.
He picked up POG on that close to pick. And Peter's smiling. Could be the Kalista Renata angle. You left that one open, but instead they're looking for the Jhin, which works really well with Olaf and is strong in lane.
Yeah. If you go something like Jhin Karma, though, for a strong lane, you don't have much engage. Maybe they go something like Jhin Rel, but then you're at risk of facing into Ezreal Karma, so kind of an interesting spot for them.
Do they just play Jhin Karma themselves? I don't think you can. I think you need Engage. I think you have to play like Nautilus. Yeah. I think that's probably where we're headed here. Alternatively, could have gone Leona. And for the side of Nongshim Red Force, they have a lot of Engage in this draft. So, not to mention Kled's Burst. So they probably could just go for the Karma to win the lane in this one. It's not Lehens' favorite. To guarantee you, he wants to play Leona. So I think we're really at a crossroads here between whether they want to win the lane hard or play a more even lane, which they still win, in my opinion, but then have a little bit more engaged with their Jarvan Orianna setup. Leona can kind of be a ball carrier in some cases, but it's already great setup with the Jarvan here anyways. Time ticking down. Leona less good into the Olaf, to be honest, but they are going to opt for it. I think this is a Lehens preference choice here in this one.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I think also maybe a little bit less volatile into the Lee Sin because, you know, if Karma's out of position, you're trying to poke, you get hooked or rooted, and Lee Sin's there, you just kind of die. Whereas Leona has a bit of sticking power, a bit more tanky.
I like
a good matchup in the Nautilus anyway.
I like the draft better for Nongshim Red Force. I think they have really easy setup. They've got strong lanes, and they also have this Kled pick, which I'm sure we're probably going to be taking and looking at under a microscope here, where you could take those bursty trades, especially at level 3, into the Olaf, and then just kind of wear him down. If he tries to all-in you, you jump off Skarl, start shotgunning to buy space, and it is a little bit awkward for the Olaf if he's not ahead. It's a really tough matchup to play Olaf the way you'd want to because of Skarl and how that all works out for the Kled. So we'll see what Kingen can get done here. Kingen is definitely a bit of an innovator, I would say, in the top lane. He likes to play the matchup everybody's talking about, that everyone's playing in solo queue. He's often the very first person to pull out the top Anivia that everyone's from practicing, for example. And this time, it'll be the Kled into the Olaf.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how this one is going to go. A lot of our teams have been trying to figure out how to deal with the man with the axes in the top lane. Will this be the answer? We'll have to see as we hop on the rift for game number 1. Alrighty, game number 1 of match 111.
The DNS fans did not do they did the fan chant like it was an echo. It just kept going. It was a big one, and then there was like a smaller one, and then another one, and then like 2 more people.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys were able to hear that, but it was kind of funny.
Closer has been the shining light of this squad. I mean, outside of Charvel, I suppose, but it's really been the mid-jungle duo. Closer was quite good even when they were losing a lot. So I think that's the thing about Closer. He's just a strong player with not the best team around him. And now that he's got the team performing, he's been doing even better with all that support.
Yeah.
So that's been nice to see. His Cassiopeia has been deadly.
Now, we do have a all-in here for Lehens, potentially.
Yeah. Well, they got the Cleanse. Cleanse really good against Leona.
Is a flash in exchange. And we'll see if that, next Zenith Blade for Lehens will be able to set up for a play without it. And if it does on the Duck Dom, then that could be a big problem without that cleanse. This top matchup, by the way, the cleanse is a counter pick, but at the early levels especially, both these players going Conqueror and Exhaust, it is incredibly volatile. Like, it doesn't get more volatile than this.
Aftershock down, good trade here from Lehens, although Diablo actually took a decent amount of damage too. But they have pressure in bot, and they have this wave stacking, so they're not in any danger, but could have been a little bit better, I suppose. But I like going in for the trade when the Aftershock is down.
I'm curious to see if Charvel wants to actually gank here, considering Lehens doesn't have flash. Might actually come over and at least try to get some pressure relieved right now. There's a ping onto him right away, which was kind of weird. I wonder who did that, but he is coming down. Maybe just reminding Peter now's the time.
Yeah, they're looking for Lehens, who does get the Q stun, and now they're just trying to set up the hook here. It should be free food for the bottom lane of DNS. There's no way for Lehens to get away, and that is first blood for the Lee Sin of Charvel.
They had a ward on the Raptor camp for Nongshim. Knew that Jarvan wasn't there, knew that Leona didn't have flash. It's pretty simple. You know, it was not a Wolfstradamus moment, you know. It's pretty obviously it was probably going to come down.
We were all on the same page, yeah.
And they aren't able to set up a Flourish combo here or anything like that, but Charvel's just here. They have enough damage. Diablo can offer some back, but he doesn't want to use his flash here or anything like that. Can just kind of set up lethal tempo and do as much damage back as he possibly can. You can see on the top side now that Kled hit level 3 and now subsequently level 4 is doing a lot better. Was kind of pinned under turret for a little while, but now starting to really put the pressure further onto Dudu there. Sponge, you know, did get a little bit of extra farm because he wasn't ganking as, oh, there's Skarl.
Yeah, Kingen in trouble. He has to lock in the exhaust. And it has been a long time. KT Doran lost with it against a Freak Skeen. So it's pretty interesting. A lot of players who play weird stuff. Charvel goes in, goes out, as you do on the Lee Sin. But yeah, bigger story. Both our supports are mid and looking to make plays.
Yeah. It's a pretty aggressive position here for DNS. So obviously Lehen still doesn't have his flashback, so he's a big target.
They're looking for the Jarvan, but Lehen's also getting low. The focus not the best from DNS, is now they're going to turn onto Lehen, who has to go in, and that will be a free kill. Fortunately, the DPS of the Orianna not there. And yeah, now Duckdom's here, taking a 1v1 versus Diablo, and just going to start shooting him down. Takes a little bit of time to reload, but still wins in the damage trade.
If he got a root there, he might have been able to flash on him. Diablo also has flashes. Duckdom is just on form right now. He's back.
Yeah, you know, Wolf, we were casting him playing into UCal's lock, right?
Yeah.
And he was playing Ezreal.
Yeah.
We think accidentally Arcane shifted directly into lock and died. After that moment, though, he's been awesome.
Yeah, he hasn't made really
since
big
then.
Makes sense. Land is so low, doesn't have flash here. Sponge is forced to flash. I think this is just a big miscalculation out of Nongshim. As even Scout, like, dropping minions here to try to put the pressure on a closer, loses 2 CS there, post the play, so a big mess. DNS, 1,000 gold in the lead right now, as Land will pick up the turret aggro a little early. That's a Nautilus.
Looking for Duckdom, who flashes away, but the Flag and Drag is easy pickings afterwards. And Sponge is able to tank it up nicely. Good dive here for Nongshim.
Yeah, both summoners down for Duckdom now. Peter got the root onto the Hens, but he hadn't picked up turret aggro, so just didn't really end up mattering that much there. Scout's getting pushed in here. Closer has level 6. Be tough to all in into turret as a Cassiopeia, but he's definitely going to look to continue to put that pressure on. Here comes another one of these aggressive plays. Now, Dudu did get the flash out of Kingen in that last play. I'm not sure if we even showed that on screen necessarily, but he did, in fact, get that after the exhausts were traded. And so he is down flash now, and as a result, feeling a little bit more timid. So Lynn takes this first shot here. Peter gets the root. Duckdom flashes, but there's no turret aggro, so it's actually quite simple for them to follow. As a result, Sponge just walks it off. Won't even have to do any complex juggling or anything like that.
Yeah, pretty good stuff. Very clean dive.
I think if maybe Duckdom gets hit and then flashes and then Peter roots, there's a little bit more wiggle room there, but it didn't happen that way.
Yeah. We got supports mid again. And DNS are taking this Infernal Drake on Vision. There is a ward in this pit from the side of Nongshim.
Yeah, it looks like there's just not going to be a contest, though.
Yeah. Raptors for Drake.
Yeah, Sponge is going to try to get that in return here. It's a fast Drake before Grub spawn, so not really much else they can do. There's Vision on this Jarvan as well right now, so pretty scary here for Nongshim if they want to try to make any sort of other proactive play. It's pretty face up at this moment in time. Duckdom has his ult now. See if he wants to rotate over and try to make a play, because we have a bit of a 3v3.
Are you going to flash in and combo on a closer? He stuns the Orianna, but not the rest of the team. The kick a little late for Charvel to help out the mid laner. And a nice little set play here for Nongshim.
Yep, Duckdom not able to join the play. As here comes another exhaust.
Yeah, exhaust comes in, and he's just continuing on the play. Even after the Skarl remount, Dudu says, no, I still win this trade.
He definitely does. King is just too low. Basically just get instantly demounted again. And so just going to have to farm it out. This matchup not working out the way Kingen wanted. I think that initial trade really put him behind. Like I said, this matchup's so volatile. And now Charvel's coming over here. Doesn't have his kick, but I think Kingen is just going to have to let this wave go. If he greeds, he is dead.
Yeah.
And he will not. Well, he will. He comes at the right timing. He does come at the right timing.
Yeah. waits until the wave gets thinned out. He's got Lehens up there.
He doesn't have teleport, so if he just lets these waves go, it feels so miserable.
Yeah.
He's going to ult here to try to get Lehens into position.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get on top of Dudu, who just flashes out of the way of that. Speed boost was there, but a lot of people right now of DNS are doing the grubs, and it looks like they didn't want to overcommit onto an Olaf.
I also think that King was like, I think he might just kill both of us. I'm not so sure about this. I'm pretty low.
Yeah.
Lehens doesn't have Zenith Blade, so...
Speaking of which, he's just going to go in onto the Leona, hits the axe on a Kingen, continues on to him as the hook only going to hit the Leona. Now Dudu in a bit of trouble, gets that shield up. Here comes Charvel trying to make something of the play, but back on Skarl is Kingen, and he's trying to run this one. Sponge comes up and will make the difference at the end of the play.
Ripple.
As Peter gets one hook and dies. Gnomeshim, huge play in top.
Yeah, 3 down. The third kill doesn't go over to Kingen, but he picks up 2 on the play. And I get the initial idea, you know, if you could dismount King in there and then look for a follow-up, but he's just too close to his turret. We're going to go back to this play here. True Shot Barrage even getting involved as well from Diablo, as the Jhin, like I said, doesn't rotate over. He doesn't have Prio to impact this with his ultimate. And then here, like, I understand initially. You got the C here from Lehens. And if he's able to, right here, get the dismount and then back off and play through Charvel, makes sense. But he's playing into the turret, takes a ton of damage here, is then ignited. And now it's just doomed. Like, Charvel still doesn't have kick. They wait so long. Sponge comes up here. And Kingen is just gifted a ton of money. Crazy.
Yeah.
That shouldn't have happened. I mean, it's still an okay spot elsewhere, but this was a disaster.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, we saw that. Actually, I was watching Sponge on the minimap. He was finishing off the blue, so he actually could have been there like maybe a half second quicker too. It didn't matter, obviously, at the end of the day, but was quite a close trade. But Sponge got there right at the exact right timing and really made the big difference as it was getting pretty close. Now Duckdom just going to try to cleanse away from that. Will survive for now, but we got Jarvan, Sponge on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, they need resources over here.
DNS are rotating.
And Charvel's coming down, like you say, so it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get this dive to work out. There's no wave anymore. Might actually even be able to get Sponge out of the jungle now. They have a lot of people here.
Peter's going in, going to trade some aftershocks as Sponge now going to lock the both of them in this Cataclysm, but not an overcommit from the side of Gnomeshim as they were pretty close to the turret, so they just let them go.
Yep, decided to make the right choice there. We're not doing the Legend group thing in this game. We're doing the Rise group thing, where we look at a fight and we're like, we will at least start it and see what happens if we're not sure. And then eventually realize, okay, this is too risky. Walk away. It's crazy how this game was in so much control by DNS until that weird play topside, where they were in a favorable position and just weren't willing to say favorable position is enough, and then just full sent it.
Yeah.
So now Kingen, I mean, I think he's fine. Peter has no ult. Charvel's coming up with his kick and flash and maybe some shenanigans here, but Kingen's very happy to live on this turret. I mean, Kled under turret with full health and his mount, like,
yeah.
and I don't think he isn't going to play disrespectfully here, but I don't think he's necessarily a great dive target. Let's see. With no ult here from Peter, there's now a 4th person up in the top lane.
And there was a push in mid, but the wave gets cleared. Really, it's just a trade for bot turret as now Lehens is coming on up. He's going to throw everything on in as the Kled does engage, but the root comes in. Just going to keep Peter around, though, as he's in trouble. Doesn't have his flash, and Sponge gets here, and Peter will be the sacrifice. All this time, Diablo's free farming and bot.
Yeah, I mean, closer is too, I guess, but definitely feels like a big win here for DNS once again, or sorry, against DNS here for Gnomeshim. Once again, DNS sending everybody topside and not able to look for the play they wanted and then getting punished. This time not as severe as the last, but still pretty unfortunate, as I just don't think the Cassiopeia getting that plate money is going to, it pales in comparison to the value of what Diablo just got bottom side, as well as that kill onto Peter there on the top side of the map. I don't know about this one either here for Duckdom. He does have Peter kind of nearby, so maybe he's trying to bait it, trying to get Skarl.
Yeah.
Kingen's just, he's like going back and forth. He goes in for the trades, goes hides under turret, he calls his friends, he ults them in. Speaking of ults.
Yeah, Closer just going to get hit under the turret, and Lehens is super tanky. This is what Leona can do. As now the follow-up does come in from Charvel, wants to get that kill on Lahens, but there's 4 members of Noamsim on the bottom side of the map. We also have TP available for Kingen if he really wanted to, but yeah, I think they're just going to let Dudu die and take the Dragon.
All right, big win again. This game is suddenly feels like it might be on its last legs here for DNS. 8 kills to 2 in this one. Some of these attempts here have just been very haphazard. I understand that the game state is pretty unfavorable, but I don't think that necessarily means you have to just run in. I mean, you still have a Cassio, you still have a great setup for the Jhin, you have an Olaf that, even though he's losing the lane, is very powerful in the late game as a huge tool. As Kingen loves this turret, man, he's just crushing them.
Yeah, well, they got the turret, I guess. Here's the follow-up, though, and will be the 1 kill on a Peter. Duckdom has about 3 health, so Kingen is certainly going to threaten it here, but very close to his ult, not quite there.
Well, I mean, he's going to get a ton of damage done to this turret, that's for sure, as I believe Charvel was also just seen in the bottom lane by Diablo, so he's just like, that's the whole thing. You guys got the turret, I got a kill, and I'm getting the turret. And all these plates. So, yes, it was first brick over to DNS. They spent so many resources to get that, but the end result is just not worth. Sometimes just go straight to a Jarvan.
Yeah, Shockwave in mid-dash, and now Charvel burns down to the Orianna. And, yeah, kind of unfortunate he finds a Jarvan right there.
I mean, he wanted to relieve the mid lane, but there was a control ward there and a Jarvan there. And Scout may get punished.
Yeah, Scout's going to flash there. We do have Lahens on the way. He's just trying to buy as much time as possible. No Shockwave as he used it on the Lee Sin. And now the follow-up comes in from Lahens and Diablo trying to take them down. But the consistent damage is there. Big ult on a 2. But here comes Sponge. And he will get the kill on a Cassiopeia at least to clean up the play.
Apparently, in this game, just don't be the aggressor. be the one who's defending. The aggressor is not working out too much. Charvel is back here, trying to punish Diablo. He has Flash, and he has Ezreal, so I don't think he will be in any danger. Now Dudu looking for an all-in.
Here we got Charvel down here too. And Trade of Exhaust surely to come in. Kingen's still holding on to his. And now it's a 2v2, and here comes Scout right on time. Picks up the kill as now Charvel says, I can't deal with the Kled. I gotta run away. Now Closer's coming on in. The root is there on a Kingen. Now he's in a little bit of trouble, but Closer's all by his lonesome. Peter goes in. Finally a shot is gonna take down that pesky Kled. And well, Noamsim going to win that fight anyway.
This is going to be a big charge here into the mid turret to take it out here by Sponge. This is not a win for DNS, unfortunately. The lead gets bigger and bigger here for Noamsim. It's going to be an extra charge. Diablo's here as Ezreal dropping that W on this turret and dropping it down to its last plate here. It's massive amounts of damage that they get in the mid lane while also winning on that bottom side play. So this is not the this is the DNS look that maybe they forgot they're not in the LCK anymore. They forgot there are no stakes in this match.
Yeah.
So look at this. Initially, DNS aggressors, okay? They are the attackers. Kingen kites it back here. And then eventually, when the Skarl gets dropped, he gets the kill, and Charvel's like, I don't like that. I don't think I have the DPS for that. I don't think he did. He backs away, but now, Noamsim the aggressors. They're like, okay, we're winning this.
Yeah.
But Jhin shows up here. The shots don't really do too much, but it does end up getting finally that kill there. They're able to push Charvel and Duckdom away. Very silly fight, but ultimately, with the push in mid for Diablo, it's a huge win for Noamsim, despite ultimately losing Kingen there.
Yeah, Diablo spent the majority of this early game just not interacting all that much. He's been a part of some fights. He's going to be a part of this fight as in goes the Lee Sin, and that will be a dead Ezreal. Nice little pick here from DNS.
DNS aren't going to give you
Rise Group.
The DNS aren't going to give you the time to caster curse Diablo in this game. Taking him out right away.
Yeah, it happened so quickly. I really tried to get the timing right with that one.
Yeah, it's a big pick. After he got all that extra money, Duckdom is the only gold lead here for DNS. This game is still playable, sort of. when the Rod of Ages completes, you know, Closer will get an extra level. Obviously, Scout doesn't have one, so that'll be helpful for him. He'll be able to catch up and experience a little bit. This is just a great play here for DNS because Diablo gets caught here tagged initially. Sponge uses Flag and Drag, so can't peel for Sharvel to get this kick. Peter gets the ult. Duckdom hits the shutdown. I didn't even realize he had a shutdown.
Yeah, Diablo had Flash. I am going to give him the benefit of the doubt and just say that he elected not to use it. You know, no objectives up, no Drake, no nothing. And I mean, yeah, a bit of gold goes over to DNS, sure, but now at least he has his Flash. I mean, you could make the argument that he's Ezreal. He should probably just Flash there regardless, but he holds on to it.
You ever notice the Korean for the shutdown says, like, ends his kill streak?
Yeah.
He only had 1 kill. They're like, take that! 1 kill holding Ezreal.
I think we've seen streaks where they don't have any kills,
yeah.
too. So
they just say it's shutdown, but it says kill streak.
Yeah.
Never really thought about it before.
Shut his kill streak down, I suppose. But yeah, the majority of Diablo's game has been farming bot, farming mid, and that's perfect. I mean, he's Ezreal. He's about to hit 2 items. So, like,
yeah.
Now he wants to actually get into the action.
Scout and Kingen really ahead in XP. This is what is being highlighted right now to the left side of your screen. And unfortunately, this Olaf finds himself a whole level behind here and kind of has for most of this game. Is getting a little bit of extra topside push right now as they have the mid wave pushing. Doesn't end up leading to anything here. And Sponge is going back to his jungle. Kingen's going to get a little bit of extra information. And then just going to go ahead and take it back. Doesn't want to push any further than that at 19.5 minutes. Not anything else to play for on the bottom side, so would have been punished. I think this game feels winnable for DNS because, like you said, still a Rise group game. And we have seen some pretty silly exchanges between these two over the last few minutes. When Diablo was chain CC'd, he didn't blow his summoners, so he still has those. So that probably won't happen again, right? Right?
I'd say there's at least a 50%
right?
chance. At least a 50% chance that it happens.
Right? Oh!
Diablo is playing Ezreal. And that is the second time he's gotten caught in mid.
But he still has his summoner spell.
It's not supposed to happen. And yeah, there's no Drake, but like DNS come back off of 2 picks. You got to flash. You got to get out there. Here's the re-engage for Nongxin.
They don't have that much consistent damage. All they have is a shockwave to follow up on Kingen's ult. There's no one charging into this one. Peter wants to go in.
Yeah.
And he's like, wait, no, don't be aggressor. We learned this.
They're just hands checking each other over and over. Like, the decision making has not been the greatest this game from either team. But I don't know. It's been fun. We've had a lot of action. 20 kills in 21 minutes. Not bad.
Yeah. The DNS versus NS tri-code, you know, I know a lot of people have said DNS do not start, but maybe it was do not start team fights all along. And for Nongxin, it's just not start.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, again, an aggressive position for Diablo. Gets punished. They still have a lead. They still have map control. Those 2 kills alone
They're doing the
don't get
Baron.
DNS back into this game. They're going to have to play around Baron, and they just don't have the information. I think they're kind of aware of it now that it's a possibility, but they cannot confirm it. So as you can see, they're just totally blind.
Yeah, Duckdom's going to hit something, and there's the Baron. Too late, so nice play here from Nongxin. 21-minute Baron, just like that.
Pretty decisive call there around the vision control they held. You can see DNS just weren't sure if they were on Baron or if they were hiding on Bush with multiple people there. I mean, I think they knew at least someone was on Baron, but they didn't know how many. So it was a really tough call to try to just go in there and contest. From what we could see, it seemed obvious to just rush in and contest, but with the limited vision they had, especially with the hens there, they're like, I don't like that. Go back to the do not start situation.
Yeah. I do wonder how much value they're going to get out of this Baron push. Kled still a nuisance in the side lane. Looks like DNS want to play for mid-fight.
And they do have, well, they had Dudu wrapping around there, but he's not actually going to get anything. And yeah, like you said, this Kled split push, even with no grubs, pretty annoying. Just autos so quickly when he has his W up. The Olaf poke, I don't know if it's going to be enough to deter this one. I think they're going to need a little bit more help.
Yeah, Nongxin going to take down 2 inners already.
They have a TP ward set of wards to the left side there that they could try to flank with Closer on, but it's just so risky. Flanking with Cassiopeia into this comp, where Lens could just turn around. They've got Shockwave. She's just so squishy. I mean, comparatively to any other top lane flanker, I mean, she does have Rod of Ages and Rocket Belts, which is kind of tanky, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Vulnerable if she goes for it. And she is not going to, at least for now. They are going to be able to defend this mid inhibitor turret, though, so that's a big win. And Charvel's kind of threatening those flanks, and Nongshim are going to have to slow down until that next wave, or potentially switch up to the top side here and work on this inner that's got overgrowth. They're doing the right thing with this Baron. The Baron call itself was great, and the play around it, just preventing any sort of opportunity for DNS, has been pretty solid.
Oh, looking to get the shield down on a Closer. Closer eventually just flashes away, but a couple ults thrown into him, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe DNS could have a window to punish here. They're going to start with Duck Dom. But there's literally
And they're going to end with Duck Dom, Wolf.
There's literally nobody there to follow up on that.
Trying to bait Kingen into a fight. Kingen is quite strong, up 2 levels. He is Kled. We know what he can do on these trades.
I mean, when you have a cleaver on Kled, even the Olaf looks squishy. And obviously with the items the Olaf's holding right now, not really that scary comparatively at the moment. Kingen is ready to scrap. They're in trouble here. They're getting sieged. Like, Kingen's just going to take this turret out. Someone's going to have to make a choice. Someone's going to have to make a call. Closer's going to have to maybe look for an angle. Charvel's on a flank.
He's going to find himself face-to-face with Sponge, and now tries to get over the wall, looking for the kick, but he's being focused down. Meanwhile, Dudu goes in, and he's trying to get the kill. He does pick up Scout, but the rest of the fight is going heavily to the way of Diablo. Closer trying to barely get away. Protobell is nice to get some range, but Diablo has all the freedom in the world to just run them down. As now they're looking to push mid.
Yeah, I mean, Dudu, he's going to have to back here, and it's going to even take him a second to get his health back before he can come over for a contest. The wave is fairly thin, but another one is coming up. Let's see. I think they can just end, although taking a lot of damage.
This wave is so thin, but in the 4v2, they are very strong, so they're just trying to aggressively bully them away from the turrets.
Now they got that wave.
Trying to get on top of Duck Dom, who's just running really fast away from them. And he will not be able to take down Sponge. In goes Dudu, wants the kill, doesn't pick it up. As Nongshim on the dregs of their life total, trying to make this happen. But in comes Charvel, looking with a kill on the Kingen. Will not get it.
Closer in 5. I mean, it's going to be close.
The dirtiest Nexus push I have ever seen. This
Kingen,
is so...
Just hit the Nexus. Just hit the Nexus, Kingen.
Oh, the kill on a Diablo, gets the kick, but look at the Nexus. It is going down to a Kled, who is burning to a Cassio and does not care at all. Nongshim wastes no time ending this game right now.
Kingen knew the job. He knew the assignment. He's like, I am Kled. I'm going to hit that Nexus. I'm going to hit it fast. If they dismount me, I'm going to keep hitting it. That was very close, very messy. Absolutely should not have been that close there at the end for that push there for Nongshim. We got a lot of Kingen fans and family here as well. And I think that when you look at how well he played in that game, there is no doubt that he would have been picking up POG if we still had it. And it's going to be a hard sell to say that if he wins game 2, he's not going to get POM, because the entirety of this game was played around him. The Ezreal farmed a lot, outdamaged him, but got caught twice, and ultimately didn't really do too much until he helped end the game there on that chase onto Closer. If Diablo didn't kill Closer, they definitely could defend. We might see a longer game, but instead it's a 25-minute quick stomp here for Nongshim, playing through that topside. Kled and Kingen, he does it again. Another topside innovation here in the LCK.
타워 타워.
타워.
애매할 수도.
이러다 올라프 노리자. 자,
얼라프 노릴게. 천천히.
노리자.
야 다음 라인 온다. 기다려. 천천히.
아니, 싸움 봐야 돼 우리.
아 나 진복해. 보자. 노플.
아, 노틸 나왔고 얘들아. 노틸 노고.
올라프 보자.
노틸 노고. 올라프 노플.
리신 1초. 리신 노플 노공이야. 리신 노플 노공.
별로 안 좋다 이거. 빼면서 해봐.
카시 10초.
아
같이 텔 있어.
천천히 해보자. 타워.
해봐.
3대2.
얘 노플 노공. 잡아봐. 카시
다
나고.
왔다.
다시 노플이야. 벨트 있다.
나
벨트 없어.
벨트 있어.
썼어. 나한테 썼어.
맞다.
Especially with Dudu then making other mistakes, as were then further highlighted there, bottom of the map. But let's move on. Okay, let's move into game 2. Let's move into a different draft. No Olaf. Any possibility? Might see a little Charvel Kiana. Less likely with no Jarvan, but
Yeah.
still possible.
I mean, it's still possible. He's definitely pretty confident on the pick, regardless. You know, a lot of the DNS fans very frustrated watching them because not only have they lost quite a lot, but beyond that, they just look so much better online. And when they're playing online tournaments or in scrims or whatever, you know, hear through the grapevine that scrims are going pretty well. And then you see stuff like Kespa Cup where they're playing online, they're playing much better. And then they come to LCK and it's like, well, not sure which team this is. I mean, they did beat Nongshim last Saturday, but yeah, I think those early game decisions were more of what the fans are used to, unfortunately. So we do have Lucian banned and Locke is available.
Yeah, I know Scout's a really good Locke player. We have verified this many times, but first picking Locke doesn't seem like it's necessarily a recipe for success, unless you can hard make it work like Zeka did a few days ago in Kespa.
18 kills.
Yeah, it wasn't working until suddenly it was working too much. It was 18, 0, and 2 or something absurd like that. But Nocturne goes over. The Camille is banned, and yet still Peter considering the Shen here, and they flip over the Jace. You're just seeing DN Supers play very differently than what they showed us online, although we did see this Jace pick once from Dudu. It is a very strong pick in this meta.
Yeah, I think you have to take Shen away. That should definitely be a consideration.
Shen plus
but
Nocturne crazy.
now they can just pick some kind of Lulu lane, and already you're feeling very good about your duo.
How did you know, Valdez?
Well, because Nocturne is first pick, so
Yeah.
and
So-
it's game 2. Another big duos are gone, and Bard is banned, and Lucian is banned, and you know.
You didn't have to answer the rhetorical question, but I
Oh.
appreciate you laying it all
Yeah,
out
yeah.
for everybody, so now they can
Just in
understand.
case some people aren't
Yeah, no,
aware,
you
they're
know,
like, how did he know it was Lulu? Well, we've seen this a lot.
It's also Lulu, ranged into Shen, so it's pretty. That's also pretty good.
Yeah.
Ziggs also not very good in the LCK right now, and I have been a
wolf.
big. Actually, I think I have been the only person who's been being like, guys, Ziggs not doing that well. Yes, 57.9 across the year, but we did see that mage stat earlier. Not looking so hot right now in round 3.
Yeah, I have the round 3 stats, and it's 1 and 4 Ziggs. So, yeah, definitely has not been finding a lot of success.
I just don't like you're opting in to lose lane with the Ziggs. You have a Jace comp, so you have some poke.
Kiana ban.
This is how they did beat Gen G, like Kiana. They also just want to keep the streak of Kiana never winning in the LCK alive. It's just not even allow him to play it. That'll guarantee it. See, Cassante ban into the Jace makes a lot of sense. Could just see an Ambessa ban for safety. It works well with the draft they already put together, but instead they will ban the Yorick. So I think Kingen will likely play Ambessa in this draft. He doesn't look too happy about it.
Yeah, it's like he just got some bad news. He's like, oh boy.
Because playing Ambessa into Jace is very hard and annoying, but it is a playable matchup. It's just, your jungler's Nocturne, so he's not going to help. Not for a while, anyways. Doesn't feel very comfortable. We'll see what they end up banning here in this second spot here for likely against Charvel. Be the Nefiri. So 2 junglers that can make a large impact early before the Nocturne can. It's probably just, I was going to say Xin, but Pantheon works well. Got a lot of globals here with the Nocturne, the Shen, and now the Pantheon to play through, and it could even be a Rise pick to come through from... Oh, I just banned. Sorry, my bad. Valdez always gets me on those.
Yeah.
His finger went to the screen so fast to remind me.
Wow, that was a pretty quick Mundo lock.
Well, they do have lane prio to play through this lock that Scout slams down. Galio's global. That's the other mid laner that they could have picked that's not banned in the first phase. And we're just going to have fireworks in this game, aren't we? I don't think DN Supers have enough damage in this draft. There's a Mundo on the other side. The Pantheon could do well into lock because it makes the lock really struggle to, first of all, kill Pantheon because he just puts up his Aegis, but then he could burst the lock down quickly. And versus the Nocturne, the early game is so much more powerful here for the Supers because they have a Pantheon that's one of the strongest junglers pre-6, and obviously I know a lot of his power is budgeted into his ultimate, but even in skirmishes before he has it, he's incredibly potent, whereas the Nocturne's really not. So I think for DN Supers, if they want to win this game, they have to win early and hold on to that lead and snowball super hard. The Ziggs has to be getting plates in like multiple lanes. He's got to be satchel and turrets. He's going to have to be so far ahead for the DN Supers to get off the ground. Otherwise, Kingen just becomes unkillable. And they just kind of run at the bad guys, turn the lights off, and then Scout deletes people, and it's a bad time.
Yeah, because on the opposite side of, Nongshim's comp, they have that unkillable Mundo against what DNS have, but they also have tons of late game damage through just the Yunara and the Lulu to help her, right? And they have the execute with the lock. They have great setup with Nocturne Lulu. So if it gets to like mid-late game and Yunara's got 3-4 items, even if it's a Shen or a Galio or even a Pantheon, you could just send it into them and blow them up. And it's like, well, how do DNS respond to that?
That is the question. It's all about Charvel in this game. He's going to have to line it up early. Otherwise, this draft with Scout on his favorite lock, just too big to fail.
Going to be a pretty interesting game here. Game number 2. We'll see if Nongshim can get revenge here at the LCK as we hop onto the Rift. Alrighty. Game number 2 between NS and DNS.
Trying to fight early here, just at level 1, but taking so much damage. Charvel's down at half from Nocturne and Mundo poke.
And lock.
A little lock poking, yeah.
Yeah.
Small little nails coming out.
Nails, yeah.
Kind of like thumbtacks at level 1, but...
Yeah. And at least you get 3 of them.
Yeah.
So...
I could hold a piece of paper on a bulletin board pretty well if you space them correctly.
But if it's windy, like, it's kind of like flapping in the wind.
It has been so windy as of late, and I've been trying to use that to save money on AC, but man, it's ripping everything off the walls to keep those windows open.
Yeah, it's been nice and breezy. We have a, what do you call it, typhoon on the way?
Yeah, typhoon in Japan right now.
So next week it's going to be very rainy. And yeah, I think that's part of the reason why it is so windy.
Yeah, it's all the pressure system that's nearby. As Peter's taking a bunch of poke. This is what we're talking about this lane. You mentioned Lulu Nocturne in the draft, which I think is the larger part of this, but yeah, Ziggs and Shen at level 1. Just going to sit back and take a lot of damage. Kind of what they do. Most clean from Scout. Scout really a master of lock.
Here comes Sponge. I mean, there is pressure in mid and pressure in bot, so you can just try to get on in there, but Pantheon very good at clearing all those Raptors as Charvel gets it off, but is going to lose his red, it looks like. Peter's on the way. We do have Charvel wrapping back around alongside of Closer. Looks like they maybe don't want to give this objective away.
Charvel's so low, though. I think they just have to let it go. This is just such a... Okay, that was a close call. This is such a snowball from just the Lulu lane alone. It's on red side, which is rare to see, but when you're winning a lane this hard, your jungler can, even on red side, come over and be like, I don't think so. I don't think you get to farm. I don't think you get to have your buff. And because Charvel had taken so much damage, and because he was so far away and couldn't get there on the initial play, just wasn't a whole lot in that defense there for DNS. They even wasted time trying to get said defense. At least Ducktom was able to get all of his farm, and he hasn't been forced to teleport or anything like that, but Yeah, this Ziggs pick, not so sure yet about that.
Yeah, I mean, like you're saying, you know, as long as you can get the farm and eventually you get Lost Chapter, then you do become a real champion. As Dudu's gone for the hit on the turret.
Yeah, you want a little extra mana back real quick.
Yeah, very suspicious. But yeah, he doesn't commit to actually going for
Herbal's
King.
here. This is kind of weird.
Now he will. Maybe this is why he didn't go for it. As nice
Wait a minute!
play on a Lehens who has to flash away and heal. And now Charvel's going in. There's the stun. Charvel just gets a solo kill. As Dudu's like, hey man, how's my gold?
Sponge, I don't think so.
Yeah, he's just going to clear the wave, I guess. Or not.
So both summoners of Lehens are taken away. And then Diablo gets solo killed?
Diablo? I mean, one more Q. Yeah, Otto and Diablo just... What's going on with him today? I mean, he was good when he got fed, but picked multiple times, now getting solo killed by a level 4 Ziggs?
Well, if you remember, a lot of their last 2 losses were about him getting caught when they had advantageous positions.
Yeah.
This Lehens is just, he's trying to play the game, lost his sums, now over here losing half of his health. So when he goes back to lane, he's going to have less of that. So let's see exactly why Dude didn't get this. Did he just miss, or is this too fast?
That's fast. Happened so quickly. He's melee form.
So he just couldn't get the tag in, nor could he attack before the burst came through. Diablo ends up eating a bunch of damage from this E here, and the Comet gets hit by the Satchel.
Yeah.
And then just gets taken out. Short Fuse comes back up.
So when you're playing Ziggs, you want to hit the minions so that the bomb explodes, so that the radius is, you know, easier to hit on the champion. So Diablo moved away from the minions on the 1Q. Then there was a minefield, but Diablo steps forward because he wants to clear the wave first before backing, and he steps through a bunch of mines, gets satcheled back.
I think when you are in a game state like what they had, where you ended up getting satcheled as Lulu, right? Lost your support sums, but you still have a little bit of pressure. You could just drop a minion or two. You know, I know he wants to crash it, but like,
yeah,
it's just such a risky play that's unnecessary, but it's so quintessential Diablo to make that kind of attempt, and as a result, he's really punished. Peter is 2 levels down, but I still feel like he's got a lot of potential value in this fight. This is that early game Pantheon that we were talking about.
It's pretty big for DNS if they can get this first Drake, as Lehen's just going to walk straight in there and die. Yeah, I don't know what the angle was there, as he's level 4, no ult, no flash, no heal, and he just kind of was like, guys, we're fighting, and then he died.
It's like he was thinking, well, Peter doesn't even have all his buttons. Maybe we can win this fight. But you're still a Lulu. And now a dead Lulu. And that's 3 kills now to DNS total, plus the dragon, which was secured by them. Like you said in this comp, you know, you want to get that first dragon. You definitely want to be in control of the early game. And I think they're coming online a little bit earlier than even they were supposed to be, as you and the Korean commentators were in awe of the damage from King in there. So Lehens, he just walks up. Like, I don't fully understand it. Even on second watch, I find myself more confused, as the rest of the team are just not. There's no setup. Like, they're all split into 3 different directions. Yeah. He has no tools. Maybe he's trying to set up a polymorph so that Scout can get a burst kill or something.
Yeah, I think that was the idea. I think he was actually trying to get close to Charvel, polymorph him, and, you know, Scout was level 6 on the opposite side of him with Ignite and ult. So, you know, theoretically, if he goes in there, gets the polymorph, and they get the kill, you know, it doesn't look as silly. Yeah. Instead, he just walks in, doesn't even get in range to polymorph, and just dies. So
this is also, we haven't talked about it, the most common counter pick to the lock in the Galio right now here for Closer, and he's showcasing in the laning phase just why that is. Just constantly trying to taunt Scout when Scout goes for the wave clear there. Now we're going to see another gank. Sponge's first paranoia potentially due to no acceleration gate, but it will use it to run away. And now, I mean, Pantheon also has ults. So you got to be careful about overcommitting here if you are Nongshim. Peter also going to spot this out.
And they're going to go for the Pantheon as Aegis up. Immediately, the taunt comes in. The follow-up finally does come in. Charvel getting pretty low. And even Sponge got away, so it came in. I mean, they just looked so disconnected. and it makes these engagements look very silly.
Peter had flash, by the way. If that hits, that punch from Closer, I think Peter flashes on him and taunts him. He's going to do a little bit of taunting right now.
Yeah, looking to try to set something up on Lehens. With no lock ultimate, it's a lot of the damage just gone. And so, yeah, Lehens in a bit of trouble. He is going to flash, and maybe he can whimsy away, but Closer just gets in. The glitter lance misses, and it's a free kill for Closer.
Not to mention, Lehens uses his flash for it. Yes, Closer used his as well, but feels much less valuable than the lost flash here on Lehens. Now, Nongshim lost the prio in the bottom lane after 2 mistakes, right? The first satchel and then the kill there onto Diablo. So they haven't had as much control on the bottom side. They don't have prio in this top lane, even though eventually this Mundo will be very difficult for the Jace to deal with. The Jace is so ahead that he's not getting any control here. So they're trying to get scout kills. They're trying to feed the lock. They want to get him the advantages, right? That's what you want to do with a lock draft, is you got to find something to play through. But these weird skirmishes are probably not the way to get that lock fed. You know, the last try with Lehens there didn't work out. This time they try to burst a Pantheon, who just puts up a shield and laughs. And they almost got him. Like, it was very close. Yeah. The execute threshold was almost there. But it's risky plays like this that if you keep trying them, you get further and further in the hole. And DNS's comp wants to be ahead early, and you've kind of given them that. So a little bit concerning here now if you are a Nongshim fan in this second game.
Yeah, it's been rough, and I think what you said there in the middle, Wolf, about, you know, trying to force fights to get your lock fed, to kind of play to that win condition, whereas your other lanes are not winning early on, makes sense. But, you know, the execution of it has just looked very silly. It has not looked good at all, and that's me being nice for the broadcast. So definitely some work to do for Nongshim. Again, you know, we've seen crazier things here in Rise Group, and even from their opponents, DNS. And DNS were able to turn some of those situations around. So it's not the end of the world. They still have a Yunara. They still have a nice combo with the Lulu and the Nocturne.
Sure. I mean, it's not like we're looking at a 4,000 plus gold lead. Ziggs hasn't taken a turret off the map yet. You know, it is very playable here. But still, it just, some of the situations we've seen so far have been somewhat bizarre. The lock doesn't fit the rest of this comp very well in terms of the scaling. It is going to be very hard for him to do things without having a lead. So we'll see if Scout can make this magic happen again. So we do have a potential gank here on the Duck Dump. He's got Flash. He's got a Pantheon. Oof. And Duck Dump's on point right now.
Yeah.
He's always been a good Ziggs player, and even though I'm not the biggest fan of it, let's see what he can do here.
Here's the combo. He's going to flash away. Nice try at the Curse Wolf, but Duck Dom says no, as Charvel does come in and heals. And now we got a Galio on the way. Nice Ziggs ult on a 3. And everybody's just zoned up against the turret. That's a good cleanse from Diablo to get him to safety, but Lehens dies once again.
I mean, it's a good cleanse from Diablo. They turn target the right away onto the Lulu. Still doesn't have flashback. He's been flashless this whole game, feels like, and there's nothing he can do there. And it's another one of those, you almost got it. You almost did it, but then Pantheon shows up. And in fact, Pantheon was kind of here the whole time. So Wild Growth combo, he flashes away, Satchel Sponge out, and then Sponge loses a spell shield. And now Galio's coming, but also both Ziggs and Pantheon still have ult. So if you don't win that play immediately, if you don't get that crushing kill instantly, you always lose the extended fight. There's just so many globals in this game, including Duck Dom's ultimate, as just mentioned. I mean, they have triple plus Ziggs ult, and basically a global in the Jace poke. So, as we saw in that last fight where the Lulu died, like, Kingen got him with an accelerated splash fire, or Duda got him with an accelerated shock blast over the wall there.
Yeah.
He shock blasted him over the wall. A Disney classic.
Yeah. We do have Blackfire Torch here first for the Ziggs. I think when you're dealing with Mundo and a powered up Nocturne, not a bad idea. Curious what our Ziggs aficionado Ox would think. But now we have Peter coming in, helping out his laning buddy, as now Ingo Sponge trying to get the kill on the Ziggs, and they will be able to do that. The turn comes in, they take down Sponge, and they just went a little bit too far down the lane as DNS do respond in kind.
I mean, this is, again, DNS just having more people here and using their globals. Kingen didn't commit to the play since he's topside on a Mundo. And, I mean, I don't know if he TPs in there, if he could really offer that much. It's just too slow what he's going to bring to the table, so I think it's the right call for him to stay there. But dude just walks over, and he has TP so he can get back to the lane. Doesn't really lose that much on the play itself. At least they get some plates back here. With the solo grub, they're pushing on this one a little bit. But this Pantheon is very much online. This Jace is 1,600 gold ahead. And this is the exact opposite of what happened when Ducktom interacted with Zeka's lock in the mid lane last time around. Slimey's just going to get a ton of damage done. Now, he did use a lot. Didn't have that much peel for Sponge, but eventually the Pantheon shows up, right? Dudu rotates over. Peter had his ult. And so it's just a huge win here for DNS, again, despite the death of Ducktom. I think we're getting close to this is too much and the scaling won't work here for Nongshim. We're not there yet. I think we're very close to it, though. I mean, they have Double Dragon. It's Mountain Soul as well, which would be massive. Nongshim starts stacking those up, but that sounds like a big if right now with how this game is going.
Yeah, they need a lot more time to really begin to do much. I mean, their lock has 1 kill, but the Galio's ahead with Abyssal Mask and Merc Treads. So, again, very much a counter, very much not going to do anything in the lane. And, I mean, you try to come up here and deal with the Jace when you're down 2 levels. Not going to feel good either. And so you try to go in on the Ziggs. That's really your only other target because you're not going on Pantheon. And eventually you just get baited into this long, drawn-out fight with the Shen coming in with the global. And it's not going to look good. So now Nongshim just kind of have to hold on and hope that DNS are not going to push the envelope. Whereas DNS should be looking for these early objectives. And they go on to Dudu as Dudu is going to turn and knock him away. And Sponge is going under the turret to pick up the kill. And actually it is the lock, of course, with the execute that does get it. As now everybody's making their way in. The flash is dodged by Scout. And Closer's taken up quite a lot. He's going to jump up and jump away. But very broken up one as they're trying to get the kill on a Peter here as well. But Kingen maybe going a little bit too deep.
Satchel not really helping DNS out there.
Yeah, that helped Kingen a lot. And now Nongshim can get a Rift Herald.
This was the first big fight, the big commitment to get Scout a kill that's actually worked out, but it's not over yet.
Oh, they don't want to give it up. And, I mean, they have some poke with Jace and Ziggs, but now Scout's got an angle on the left side. They're trying to peel back, but Nongshim just keep this objective up, and they will be able to take it down.
Yeah, DNS trying to pull a bit of a Rick Astley there on the Herald, but ultimately do, in fact, give it up. As Dudu's here with some poke. Maybe they're not.
Wait, there's 3 people that got caught trying to back in the river. You could have just run away. Diablo's free food. He's dead. And the other 2 get away with a dash and a flash, it looks like.
I still think this is good for Nongshim. Well, okay. Well, qualifier. A little small qualifier. Okay, still think this is good for Nongshim. As this is the second death here for Diablo, but see if they can get back control here now that they've respawned. Well, not all of them, not the respawn, but the return from the fountain now that they've regrouped. We'll be able to defend this turret.
Ooh.
Oh, Satchel just on the edge of the threshold. We've hit that 4,000 gold lead. I was saying that DNS kind of need to feel like the scaling isn't going to be there, but this time they finally get the plan to work. And I think part of the reason why Dudu goes back in here is because he wants to actually bait them and set up for his team to counterpunch, right? Because they've got the Pantheon coming through. They've got the Ducktom TP. They've got Closer coming over. But they get this awkward spot where Sponge plays as well. He just doesn't rejoin. And then they're in a choke point with this Galio who has to defensively ult away, runs away. And now they've lost all zone control. Until we're back in the river. And this was, like you said, completely avoidable. They could have definitely been a lot safer here. Diablo does end up dying, and they also get a ton of damage onto the turret. So both mid-turrets do fall as a result of that play. The Herald not as valuable as Nongshim were hoping for, but it still did get a lot of money into their pockets. And this Yunara is getting closer to relevance in this game. So I still think there's a little fight left in Nongshim after getting that Herald. And I think that's why they fought so valiantly to make that topside play happen.
Yeah, any bit helps to try to get back on the board, and they're trying to take down this dragon. We do see Closer on the right side as a big amount of damage, but that is all into the Lulu. They do take out Lahens, but Enough peeling here potentially as now big lock ult on a 4, but nobody can follow up on the damage as Charvel just zones away Diablo, who can't do anything. Now we have Scout trying to go in and make something of this 1v5, but he is not quite going to be able to. In fact, Closer's thinking about diving him, but I think they can just take the Mountain Drake and leave it at that.
Wave. They're trying to see if they can make a play here.
I mean, they're getting pretty low. Scout going to heal up pretty much all of the damage that the Ziggs did.
I mean, if they leave here, they're going to lose the wave. They're going to lose the turret. Satchel available. Down it goes. So really awkward there for Scout and Sponge, but there just really wasn't much they could do. They would have died if they tried to stay, as the turret isn't going to live. And that's another Dragon Soul Point here for DNS. And it's the Lulu's turret again. Lens is kind of isolated here. He just gets ulted by the Pantheon. And look at the peel here from this Galio, not only keeping Scout away, but actually putting a bunch of damage onto Diablo as well. This ultimate is huge, but it's even Scout becomes a cheerleader on this pick when there just isn't enough damage to get them into that threshold. Now watch this from Scout. Deletes Dudu and is able to get away. That was very clean by him, showing he still has the mechanics on it, knows how to play the champion even when he isn't set up on it. He is on 3 kills now and is the only gold lead here for Nongshim. But the setup was really rickety from the outset. Lens didn't have flash. Wild Growth himself and still dies, but I don't think he would have been able to Wild Growth or change that fight. They just had to be the ones to start the fight first, and they were not. It was Charvel, who's 6-0-2. We have a bit of a jungle gap in terms of the impact in this game here between these two right now. And now I think DNS, I mean, all they have to do is get this Dragon. I'm a believer this comp isn't scaling for Nongshim. I mean, that'll be enough for me.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I mean, Kingen, okay, he's going to take down the turret, it looks like. And now we got a Nocturne coming on in as TP going to be utilized just to survive. Wait, he TP'd like 2 feet to the left. And now the peel comes in, and the knockup is big with the Wild Growth. Big stun, or rather taunt from Peter trying to help out. Scout wants that kill and a duck dom, and he will pick it up as Peter shuts that one down. And we're getting into chaotic mode now as Nongshim have dove multiple turrets here. And it looks like Kingen eventually should be going down to Dudu and can't even really do much to Peter. At least Kingen got some Heartsteel stacks, but he will die.
You know what? I'm going to say it. I think we don't even need to see that Mountain Soul anymore after this one. It was a cool idea, but this whole game has been Nongshim being like, aha, we've got a global. You're in an illegal zone. And then the rest of the team shows up. And Jace isn't here initially, right? There's no Pantheon here. So this time it kind of makes sense, but it takes so long to get these kills. Scout dies, Pantheon does show up, and Jace TP's in. And they do have more people than you. You used so much, and it took so long that you took so much damage playing between the turrets. And yes, there was some great health shenanigans between Kingen and Scout in this one, but they will both ultimately die. Diablo has a 4th death, and he's 1,500 gold behind himself. And I do think DNS have done enough to just continue to control the rest of this game. With the turrets they've taken already, they have map control, and they can threaten Barons. Now, this is not a very good Baron team, but it's got a lot of turn. That can't do the Baron fast, but it can turn off of it if Nongshim come over to try to contest. So it definitely has some play there.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a good idea. We have TP coming in from Kingen. And
just going to try to push for a bounty turret mid. I don't know about that.
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like he should have just either gone top or bot. And now he doesn't have TP. I mean, he has Mundo, so at the end of the day, like, flank TPs aren't the greatest deal, but you still are going to lose some side lane pressure by him just TPing in there, especially with Scout not having teleport in this game.
My theory on what they're trying to do with that play is they just know if they're grouped, it's harder for DNS to team fight, and Kingen is starting to become very annoying, very tanky in this game. He's getting his Heartsteel in line. He has 4 mocks now. And so they're like, okay, maybe we just have a big enough front line for Yunara on 2 items, even though she's 0-4 in this game. So if we group and they start coming in one by one, we win that. But you have a bit of a
they're going in on the Shen, and the peel comes in as Closer is right there to help him out. Sponge in a bit of trouble. Gets the peel from his own Wild Growth. Oh, the damage on a Diablo from miles away. He is just dead. Had flash. Did not expect that.
Just such a burst to come through late into the fight. I think they thought they were out of there. But unfortunately, they were not. Another one of those really long-range tools that DNS have to play through. And the wild growth was great. You know, denied Charvel to get in there with the stun. But this Ziggs is well and truly online. He has an arm guard for safety now as well, so punishing him gets so much harder. Looks like this back will complete here for Sponge, but they lost control of their jungle. And DNS is just running away with this. It all starts off trying to catch Peter here. Scout doesn't have CC, so it takes them a long time to kill this pretty tanky Shen. Doesn't actually get the kill to go through, cannot get to the threshold.
Watch Diablo.
Oh! Sponge knew, he flashed.
Yeah.
But Diablo was not so lucky.
And this is Mountain Soul. If DNS do get this objective, you can see that Kingan just kind of has to put his face into it as they don't have the wild growth just yet. It's nearly up. Diablo now trying to push forward, but he walks through some mines in the bush. Maybe didn't quite see them, but he's already taken a bunch of damage. Paranoia gonna come down. Bit of a smite fight, and it goes to Scout, who just throws a nail at it, and that'll be the end of that. And now Closer just walking into them, gets a big taunt. Follow-up from the Ziggs is huge, as they thought they were gonna win that fight. They sat on the bush and said, come at us. And DNS are like, all right, I guess we'll just win game 2.
Challenge accepted. And it looks like we're going to have another quick end here in this game. DNS just 3-0'd Honorable IP Sports Challenger roster to average game time of 25. And I guess this is the safer choice. I mean, it is 25 minutes in, and they weren't, they didn't even have the whole wave there or anything like that. So initially, you're like, okay, we got the Baron, or sorry, got the steal on this dragon, got the bounty. And they decide to look for this fight, and Closer is like, what? Look at this taunt. Lulu dead instantly, the fear comes in on the Closer, but it's not enough damage. And Diablo's trying to kite this back, but they just, there's two, they're all on top of him. Like, what's he gonna do? The ultimate was massive on the fall. They get Baron here. They could have tried to play for the end, but they decide not to, so Nongshim are still hanging on by a thread in this game, but I think it was the better choice than, the safer choice, I should say. If they had won, obviously it would have been a better choice to push for the next ascent right there.
Yeah.
But it was a little bit ambiguous, you know, the situation there in terms of whether they could actually pull that off.
Well, at least Nongshim took the Mountain Soul away.
That's true. They got another bounty, too. They got 2 bounties now under the name.
Yeah. I think Inara's too far away. You know, we talked about how, you know, 3-4 items, eventually you can just chew through the front line, but they're having so much trouble dealing with a mostly magic resist Galio at this point in the mid game, and they don't have enough DPS to chew through him, let alone the rest of the squad.
Scout doesn't have TP because he's playing locked, so he's kind of stuck committing to this turret play, and DNS are like, well, we have a Ziggs, we have Baron, we got 2 grubs.
Yeah.
So eventually, I think that lock's going to have to come home.
Right? Okay, he's going to back. Now Closer. He's like, yeah, I'm pretty safe even against the Inara at this point. Like, he just doesn't do enough damage yet.
Scout does not complete his back as they slow the push. He actually might be able to get an inhibitor and trade here. There's no TP for Closer. There's no TP for Ducktom or Dudu. Finally, Ducktom gets his back off and will deny that turret from going down, but scary moment there. Scout with a bit of a backdoor threaten. Not to end the game, but to get a ton of money. It would have been more bounty gold picked up there.
It was Scout, right, who was playing the LeBlanc in that one game where he just, like,
oh, yeah, he just didn't join.
He just would not join the team. He's like, no. I am side lane LeBlanc only. Yeah, I mean, in this case, it actually forces them back. You can see the Baron power play is actually negative at the moment with only a minute left to go. So they're trying to group up and push mid.
Yeah, they did not get the inhibitor down the bottom lane because that. I mean, I think basically because Scout was there and the waves were being cleared, so they just had to eventually stop the push. Still 40 seconds left on this Baron, so they can actually get a little bit more here on the top side. We're going to see a play onto the Galio.
I mean, they're going to throw a lot in a Closer. They get his flash away, so that is something. But a bit of a big committal just to try to get the Galio's flash.
I think Nongshim are playing this macro well, but they also now need to defend. I think this inhibitor is for sure gone. Kingan will be totally fine. He doesn't care, but the inhibitor is in fact gone as Closer's going to now interact with Scout.
Yeah. Scout, I don't think he can kill him, although that's a bit of burst. It's getting a little bit closer. Closer is still chasing him and stopping the backs, forcing him over to the east side of the map.
You can also just ult away, depending on how the fight goes, because Scout can't stop him from doing that if he doesn't like how it's looking, and the rest of his team is so nearby. Scout, he's in a little bit of trouble. I don't know how many more nails he can really toss out here. If Charvel flashed on him there, he would have been dead. As 40 seconds until the second try is the charm on the Mountain Soul for DNS.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been Nongshim, I think, playing a really good game despite the deficit because they're playing the map well. Scout's pretty fed. You know, he's about to have death cap in this game. He spent so much time picking up those bounties, hard farming sides, but he hasn't been able to have that team fight win. You know, he hasn't been able to get the triple, quadra, penta that we saw from Bro the other day. But, I mean, they could happen, right? Zeri gets them low. Sorry, I don't know why I said Zeri. Dinara gets them low.
Yeah, you said Penta, so it's understandable. Duck Dom awkward spot. He's going to be pushed back. Bit of damage into Diablo. Diablo's doing the right thing. You got to push the mid lane and then move over to the Dragon. And the fact that they have more push than the Ziggs right now on the Jace is kind of interesting. But
isn't a poke match here for Nongshim. Like, the Shock Blast do so much work.
They're just going to send it. I mean, Charvel's going in. He wants to get in on top of Diablo as everything in the kitchen sink is thrown at him. They try to go in onto Dudu, who just gets away. Poser goes golden. We got pretty low. Dudu tries to go for the kill and just dies. And now Closer with the big boom in the backline takes out the Yunara. As the Dragon does go over to Sponge this time, so Nongshim get it. Once again, super low are the members, but they're going to collapse in onto Scout, take him down.
The base.
As Duckdom comes in and will clean this up event, right? Okay, there you go. 1Q, and the game will end. We will have a game 3 in Rise Group.
Closer and Peter are going to just come over here and end this game. A very close fight, all things considered. Diablo made it interesting until he got caught by that big Galio. And down he went. Both summoners up as he dies this game in that final fight. Now the story of Diablo and a few of those deaths. But here comes the Ziggs. He'll respawn to watch the fireworks. And Charvel's got his headset off early. He's ready to pop off again. And another win. Mostly orchestrated by the Pantheon play across the map. Sometimes being the aggressor, but often the one who defended against Nongshim kind of coming in one by one.
Yeah, you can tell the fans are ecstatic, but also a lot of relief because it got a little wonky there, even though DNS were ahead. You know, some Dragons, 2 of them given on over. And the fight very close at the end with super low health bars. And at the end of the day, DNS do pick up the win. So a game 3 will be on the way. Duckdom with a lot of damage. Closer actually number 2. As once again, he makes his presence felt.
Dudu did a lot of poke in those fights. They could not crack the top lane. Scout didn't have a place to play through. He showcased his mechanics. He found a few ins, but wasn't able to take over the game with his draft the way they were supposed to. I think a major part because of Lehenz's first death that snowballed everything. And then we had the death there onto Diablo in the early laning phase, and they just could not get back in.
San says it's not embarrassing to lose to a strong team, indicating that DN Supers are now a strong team. We'll see if they can prove that in game number 3 after the break.
야 이러고 탑을
와드 내가 해놓을게. 와드 찍어. 내가 천천히 해볼게. 그거.
천천히 얘네가 친다. 야 궁 박게 궁 박았어. 갈려궁 봐줘. 볼게.
빠지면서 한번.
괜찮아.
야 로크 뒤에.
로크 봐줘.
수연아 빼야 돼. 나 괜찮아.
날 살긴 했고.
로크 개딸피. 봐줄래? 야 용보자. 야얘 먹어. 녹턴 빠졌어.
유라 잡았어. 아 무서웠다. 야 이거 쌈 봐줘.
여기 아래 봐줘. 녹턴 노플. 탑테라던가. 그 주연아 탑테.
나 잠깐 잡고 가자.
잡고 갈게요.
탑테야. 잡았다.
집 끊어줘 한 명. 일단 끝난 거 같아.
집 끊자. 내가 집 끊어. 잡았어.
6 out of 20. It's been a up and down last couple of weeks. But yeah, I honestly, we can make predictions. We were doing a lot of, 15-minute challenger predictions over at the Kespa Cup. I think that similar feels for this one for me, Wolf. I would not flip-flop if I could, just because the same reasons I thought DNS were going to win before still stand now, even if Nongshim have proven to be a stronger opponent than I expected. As we are getting into Game 3. Kiana was banned last game in the second phase, but still potential to be picked in this one.
Absolutely. Poppy going to be banned again, but also Diablo's Lucian, which I think, given the engaged pool thinning out quite heavily here, with no Nautilus, no Leona, feels like a very strong ban. Diablo loves to play Lucian. Ryze will be banned again, this time by the Supers, as the Bard will go through in this first phase this time. Game 1 almost got through it, but was banned in the second. See what they want to first pick here. Ryze felt like a pretty strong potential first pick, but because they banned it, they will not be able to play it in this situation. Could just be Elise. No, Elise's already been played. What is he going to first pick? This is kind of awkward. You obviously you didn't get to choose this. Nongshim chose second pick, but with the Ryze ban, it feels like you put yourself in a weird place here.
Yeah,
okay,
I mean, Rumble was banned last game. It's not banned this time, but if you just pick it first, that's not a good feel either, as we have found a lot of answers into that pick over the course of time here.
Yeah, there's no Jace available, so maybe they do play a Rumble draft. It is Kingen after all. Nongshim Red Forest on the other side.
It's just a lot of like the big CC junglers are gone or banned, and Mbessa
Wukong
still
Annie.
available.
Nongshim
Annie?
Embracing.
They're
a Ryze group team now. They're not a Legend group team like last year. It's time to pull out the El Clasico.
The original Ryze group strategy.
I always felt like Annie was trying to be a representation of Little Red Riding Hood in terms of design. Wukong even has the red hood.
Oh, this is not Ryze group.
That's not.
You have to aim your Scatter the Weak.
That's not Wukong Annie. That's a little different. That's a little tricky from Scout.
Yeah.
This is a blind Syndra as well, but there is no CC on this Nefiri, so you aren't necessarily going to get punished with your lane aggression as easily. Depends on what gets picked up here for closer, though.
Yeah. Remember, Diablo was the guy who played bot Aatrox, right? So he could play bot Syndra too. We'll have to wait and see how that flexibility goes. But yeah, Kali's going to be locked in for closer. And Rumble.
There's no setup for the Equalizer in this draft right now, but it is a strong pick in isolation, and they can potentially get that setup to Peter. But like I said before, a lot of the CC is down. There's no Camille, there's no Vi, there's no, Nautilus or Leona, which is why I think Nongshim Red Force avoided the Rumble pick in its initial outset. See what this final pick will be here. Just a counter pick for Kingen, you have to expect. Is he just going to play Ornn? We scaling? No! Get the Alistair here for Lehens.
Well, I guess this time, if you find yourself running into 3 people, you have a way to actually protect yourself.
Kalista, Renata, very scary. Ashe also scary because it's a form of CC, which they currently do not have any of. So they take that one away first. And on the other side, I guess you just protect the Rumble pick. Maybe you ban some tanks away if that's what you're afraid of. We don't know what Diablo is playing yet, so It's a little bit scary to go full topside protection here, but they are at least starting with the Cassante, and they may ban the Ambessa next. Ambessa follows up really well on Syndra and Wukong.
And
Is there going to be a Callista ban here? Banning the Nico, which is a Peter classic, and it is one of Alistar's worst enemies in the bottom lane, so that makes sense, but there's a lot of picks left available they can play in this bottom lane.
Yeah, I'm not sure they've protected the Alistar enough. I'm just not sure about the Alistar pick in that spot in general. Ambessa, the ban, makes sense, as we were both kind of expecting that. So what are you playing to the Rumble now as well?
Is it the Ornn and a scaling pick here for Diablo? He's going to have to get out of the lane, though. Yorick is going to be the option Kingan's looking for here. I'm nervous about Nongshim's draft because they have a Wukong. And that means that if you don't have lane prio, it can be a little bit tricky to fix that. The Yorick will get a little bit of power, but it'll take some time before you can actually start controlling that lane. So are they just going to play the Callista lane? That doesn't feel very good, Renata, into this draft, so maybe they do something else. Xayah into Wukong has always been one of my least favorites because you're going to get stunned anyways. But they go for the Rakan here, which they needed the engage desperately. They now have a large form of it in this Rakan with the charms to potentially set up equalizers.
What's this guy playing?
Sivir.
Sivir Alistar is the bottom lane.
Well, playing Alistar made it tougher for Duckdom to lock Sivir here. And now you have a lot of wave clear. You've got really good scaling. And because their engage isn't that good, it isn't very consistent here for DN Supers, you do kind of get to just play aggressively. You know, the times we've seen Diablo get caught in this series are going to be pretty tough to happen in this draft, especially when he's got a Wukong and an Alistar to help protect him. And even the Yorick Ghoulie wall could be a little bit frustrating to deal with if you're trying to get on top of the Sivir. They don't have CC that much, but they have a lot of burst. They have the Akali, and if we know Closer, I've been watching a lot of Closer recently, and this is one of his favorites for our all-time. They have the Nefiri that can just get on top of the Sivir that's trying to kind of kite away. Ricochet. It's all about whether you can get ahead and get that burst damage. If the Akali doesn't come online, if the Nefiri isn't successful, if the Wukong gets his ult up without any problems in the early game, I don't like this draft here for the DN Supers, but that's a lot of qualifiers for a team that have had great early games. That's been where they've been strongest.
It's not the hot dog skin, once again, Wolf. So we'll see how that fares for Charvel on the first pick Nefiri for him as he controlled all of Game 2. We'll see if he can do it again here in Game 3.
미니언들이 생성되었습니다.
Game number 3 in Rise Group. It has not been the trend, Wolf. The last 4 matches we've had were all 2-0s in Rise Group. And it was actually the Legend Group that was kind of going the distance and bringing us to Game 3s more often than the Rise Group, at least last week. But these two, especially because I feel like Nongshim have stepped up today compared to what we saw on Saturday last week against DNS. You know, it's a lot closer than I expected.
Really looking to be a competitive one. It was an abrupt end to that series last time around. Everyone remembers Diablo's build and how strange it was. Kingan's TP and how strange it was. Exhaust.
Right, the flash knockup going to come in here. Duckdom just kind of walks away, presses Ghost. And, I mean, this is one way to try to put on pressure if you are Alistar.
3 summoners for 2, but it gets them level 2. It gets them control of the lane. You know, rarely do you see the Alistar actually get that advantage? Gets level 2 first. Like, that is pretty hard to do in most matchups. He's going to look for a Hex Flash.
Yep.
They don't care.
He has combo at level 2, so good respect there from Duckdom just to realize that and to play it safely. Peter's been good about hitting most of his gleaming quills. Helps that Lahenz is kind of walking directly at him, but that does mean a little bit more sustained for Duckdom. But yeah, as you mentioned, control the lane totally in favor of Diablo and Lahenz early on because of that play.
Yeah. Usually with Alistar level 1, you have to, you really have to use your head. But in this case, it was just a play without the...
Like when you headbutt them?
Yeah, exactly. But this time he actually just used his mind and made a really smart and tricky play with the flash there. They committed a lot of summoners, but got him level 2, got him a little bit of control. Those are 0 and 3 on this Akali, which, if you're going to the narrative we were just talking about, looks bad, but it is a team that has 3 wins this season. So, it's a bit of a team issue in that one more than the Akali issue. This is going to be a tough matchup into the Syndra in the early game, but he's so far handling it pretty well.
Didn't he also get 3 solo kills against Roamer?
That
couple of
right.
weeks ago, and
That
then
sounds
on the Akali, and then they lost that game? That's crazy.
Yeah, actually that did. Yeah, I remember that now.
I guess that was the game 2 of that series, because DNS did win the series. Charvel picked up the POM after they won games 1 and games 3. As we got some action down the bottom side, and actually because Peter goes in, kind of ruins the play here for Sponge, especially because Diablo now is pretty low. They see Sponge on the bottom side of the map, and now Charvel's just going to move in, put down a ward, maybe look for a play in mid.
Diablo's very low on mana. Sponge has left, but I think
No
they're more
span of
interested
the
in mid.
week, and a bit of damage certainly going to come through here. The scout gives the thumbs up, but he has to flash, and he just TP'd back here.
Yeah, he just lost his TP right before this play. The timing couldn't have been worse for him. And it's not going to be game-breaking, but it is very frustrating. And all the tempo for the Syndra is now just completely gone after that moment there. So a lot of extra vision on the top side of the map now for DNS as well. Duckdom and Peter really wanted to try to make something of this. Very volatile moment here. No level 6 for either player yet. Poser's trying to make a roam play. Has so much vision here on the bottom side. They have that scuttle and the ward on the entrance, but he's just going to go around.
But, I mean, they double pinged it. They knew that Closer was on the move. And now, I mean, he's level 5, so it's not the most threat, but Lahenz is super low. Closer can't get in, and he doesn't want to use Flash to do it. I feel like a Flash Q just nets him the kill, but he elects not to.
Like I said, early game Alistar, sometimes level 1, sometimes level 4. Got to use your head. He knew. He knew he was safe, Valdez. He wasn't worried. As this is going to be an annoying moment here where the Force of Will helps Sponge secure those Raptors away from Charvel. And the race to level 6 is on. Wukong hasn't been able to make a big impact yet, but potentially will be back for that in just a few camps' time. Equalizer going to be expended here to clear this wave. It's a very quiet early game. We've had a few fights or skirmishes, but nothing actually leading to a death on either side.
Yeah, we've had quieter early games, but this one is not the most interesting. Lahenz does deny the cannon, actually, so Closer kind of unfortunate there. I think he just wants to stay at level 6 and become a champion a little bit, because he wasn't really before that. Does hit level 6 now, and a big roam up from Peter and Charvel. They want to get this Scuttle Crab if possible. There's total control on the top side of the map, though, for Nongshim.
Yeah, they've just continued to play through this top side. Now, this is a bit scary. Kingen is going to have to potentially flash out the wall. He's going to look for the fight
very
instead.
nice shuriken here from Closer. Gets away from the Alistar. He's getting pretty low, though. Sponge gets in, just smites it away, and now Dudu, awkward spot, has to flash out of the pit. This is Sky of the Week comes in, but that is a Rakan, and he does get away easily.
I thought they were going to be able to follow up on that aggression from Closer a little bit more. I thought that the Kingen was potentially going to have to flash there to get out of the pit, but the chase goes on to the Alistar, gets away.
He is going to die to Peter. First blood, supportal combat solo kill for Peter over Lahenz.
So he did get away on the initial fight. Was able to escape there. Got the faster back, he's got TP. But there's nowhere for him to TP to right now. All right. It doesn't matter that much, actually. It's a gold lead gone here now for Nongshim, but it's a kill over to a Rakan, so... and there isn't much like the Alistar was going to be trying to do on the map at that moment, so I guess it doesn't really matter that much. Sometimes you just got to use your head. Just going to keep going with this for Lens with the decisions he's made this
That's
game.
really the theme of this game number 3, at least.
Yeah.
It's really good micro on the Maiden, by the way, from King, and he gets in, does a ton of damage to Dudu, gets it out, and kind of pulls it back at the perfect time so that it's never in danger of dying, even to the equalizer. So Kingan's definitely showing a lot of prowess in this matchup so far.
I think this game hasn't really started yet. You know, we're looking at Closer just got his ultimate for that first fight, didn't get the kill or anything, but that was the first moment where he could have actually done something. The fight was broken up. We're looking at obviously a Sivir here. That's going to be much more powerful, much more relevant way later on in this game. Kingan's gotten past the point of the early game where the Rumble's very annoying and now has control. Closer, like I said with the ultimate, same story here, but haven't been able to turn that into anything just yet, but they need to. Oh, that was a great backflip there. Because this Closer Akali needs to actually have some kills under its belt when we get to the mid game. Otherwise, I just don't think that DNS can win this game.
See, Charvel starts this up, but Sponge might be the one that finishes it with all that pressure from top. I mean, you look at Dudu's items right now, it's nowhere near what Kingan has, but they're still going to respect the roam up from actually Duck Dom, so they kind of have to clear it out. They got the one grub, and they say, you know what, that's good enough.
Like you said, Duck Dom is leaving. A lot of damage on the scout. The matter in this particular moment, but he's actually a ghost for a potential punish.
Duck Dom's angry nowadays, man. He's just always looking for these kills. He got one auto off. So, not a kill. But he was looking. And now we got everybody up on the top side. As a lot of chase here between the Nafiri and the Rakan. The damage not necessarily coming through. Peter trying to tank this one up, and Kingan lives against 3.
Kingan surviving turret dives has been the story of a few of these games here today. Not playing Kled this time.
Did Dudu not have his equalizer? Because he has it now.
I'm not sure, actually. We might have to roll back the clock on that one to check, but King wasn't that low, but definitely could have helped in the longer play there and helped prevent Kingan from getting back to his turret. Duckdown playing fast and loose again with Lehens coming over. Exhaust's committed.
Yeah, and he still has Featherstorm, so he's totally fine against Lehens, who's just there to peel. And just trading ults, but, you know, Duckdown eventually gets the trade of the exhaust for his own ghost, just not in the same play.
Yeah, they do back away. Starting to wonder if they were really going to start stacking players into this fight. I mean, Lehens is like 1 minion off of actually having his ultimate available. He needs that so desperately to fight properly in this game, and looks like he's going to back before getting it. Unfortunately for him, wouldn't have had it for that fight without any help or experience gained. We're teetering on a knife's edge in this game. You know, both of these comps are so volatile. I think that's why we're seeing so many, I think this is good, I'm backing away, moments in this game because, again, Closer gets fed, disaster. Nongshim get ahead, huge problem. Diablo gets a few kills, you kiss your series goodbye. So DNS, I mean, just playing this very cautiously. It's not that they don't have scaling in their draft, it's just a lot tougher to set it up because they don't have a lot of CC. So there's an Alistar, a Wukong, Scatter on the other side. So if you fall behind, they have all these ways to keep you at arm's length as well as potentially just catch you on rotation.
Yeah. It's really fun to watch mid lane because Closer doesn't even have any boots at the moment, and yet he's just dodging everything. So really showing that he understands how to play this matchup, which is just dodge everything. If you get hit by a bunch of Qs and orbs being thrown at your face, you're not going to have a fun time. But Closer, even though he's behind on CS, he is keeping up until he's eventually a threat on that first item. It looks like top lane has also evened out a little bit.
Yeah. If you go boots into Syndra on Akali, it costs you so much of your power spike. You just can't really, I'm talking about upgraded boots really more than just boots, but you know, you want to rush that first item, and he's getting closer to it. On a knife's edge still this game, every single moment. He's trading waves, but constantly threatening is Peter here. He has flash ult. Charvel's coming over. Lehens is finally level 6, and Diablo has spell shield, so it's really tough to force this.
They want to go for the Peter engage and catches both of them, and Diablo trying to get away. The knockup is huge from Lehens. Diablo survives for so long. That's going to be the end of Peter, and now Sponge is making his way down to the bottom side of the map. Estravel's going to go back in, gets that shield, and the pullback is huge from Duckdown as he shuts down the play and bot.
Scout also just walking up here.
Ooh, okay. Should be able to throw in and unleash power. The Shuriken is going to miss. Closer with the R2 just gets away, and Scout just kind of holds his ground. He's fine.
If he got hit by that backflip there and the Shuriken connected, might have actually been a bit of a scary moment, but this year is just Peter surprising them. There's no spell shield from Diablo. It's just too fast for them to react. And Lehens has a really nice interrupt here, but it's just too late. And Duckdom can just use his ultimate. Peter just holds the turret because he knows if he dies, it doesn't matter. And then they instantly use the reset of the ult here onto Sponge, who can't get back access with Lehens. And honestly, I don't think there was much Lehens could have done for him there anyways. He was just already committed to try to save the play.
Nice.
He's super impressed, but also surprised that that play worked. But it was just such a quick one that Diablo just couldn't press the button fast enough.
We're going to have a TP in here. They want to set up a play on a Kingen, who does have his flash. Peter trying to set up yet another one. Doesn't have the quickness just yet, but he gets that knock up. There's the flash out of Kingen, and maybe second time's the charm up on the top side. Dudu able to tank up quite a bit, but Peter doesn't have the damage himself. He has to get out of there.
And Goong is going to, after this, he's like, look, if there's one thing we learned today is stop trying to kill Kingen in the top lane. It's not working. There's a lot of resources committed to that. Even Duckdown was rotating up, so Diablo's going to get some extra time here in the mid lane to grab a plate. Doesn't change the fact that he is significantly far behind in terms of gold right now. Sponge getting his ultimate up right now. There's no equalizer. It's a very fine line that Nongshim are walking if they want to commit to this, but I think they might have enough, even without the wave here. It's taking too long with it, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah. As you've said, this whole game, it's really been on a knife's edge, and now Dudu's pretty low. They're trying to get in, but the peel is there for Peter. You see that the follow-up is not there on Peter's CC, though, because, of course, he was super low. So just kind of helping them away from the top lane. But Kingen's going to get some solo time with this turret now.
Duckdom was also in a pretty powerful position there. They don't actually get the punish with the Xayah rotating up, but they get the exact same punish that Diablo got moments ago back onto him now, with Duckdom having that mid-prio with the rotation up. Will be some plate gold going over. Scout TPs to the bottom lane, so he now has a TP disadvantage over Closer. DNS have a lot of small advantages in this game right now. I wouldn't say it's enough necessarily for this Akali, but looking much better.
The tempo here on the play of the Drake might actually favor Nongshim, but we do have a TP back in from Peter.
And for Closer as well, he gets back to controlling that bottom lane. They can look for a sandwich here.
Yeah, he has a Gunblade too. I mean, Sponge has already gotten this pretty low. The exhaust onto Sponge doesn't do a whole lot, but yeah, I don't think they get there on time, so that is going to be the Drake, and it's Chemtech Soul.
Closer also really far up now.
Sponge is right here. Closer just going to try to ult to get away and is successful.
I was very surprised by that, but I don't think he should have been. His face said that he was surprised anyways, as Sponge will Cyclone to no avail. It's a trade of ultimates. Favors the Akali in some senses. I think without Peter's ultimate, even though the Rakan TP, and I think not contesting that dragon was absolutely the right call. Setting up a slow dive here. 4 people in the bottom lane against one Akali with no ult.
Yeah, I mean, they're just going to get on top of him, but the ult does not go into Closer from the Syndra. As now they use it onto the Feather Storming Xayah. That is not the dive you're looking for Nongshim, as now the Feathers do an insane amount of damage, and Sponge is going to be killed as well. Closer survives. And yeah, just the rotation, the timing for DNS, seeing the dive coming, and they're there to catch it perfectly.
This is the kind of game that's so frustrating if you're Nongshim. Like, so many of their plays this game have been almost excellent, and then they just keep getting out-rotated. They're not able to make their plays fast enough. Now, Kingen's getting a ton of money off of this play, but Duckdom's stopping backs. And that's really annoying here on the bottom side, so the Akali will also be fed a lot of money on this one. And a Yorick that's 1,000 gold ahead can be scary. Kind of situational, whether or not that matters, but he did get all of the side lane advantage he was looking for. We'll have his teleport back up pretty soon. Now DNS, because they stopped those backs, get a huge tempo advantage here on the top side of the map on this Herald. So watch how this breaks out here. Initially, Lens goes on to closer. They get the knock up, but he flashes left. They have no follow-up here. He uses his Shroud. Peter's ult's back up now, so he gets the ult onto Sponge, gets the knock up onto Diablo. Duckdom's free firing here. Lens can't help because he took like 4 turret shots to try to make that initial dive work. It just took, like I said before, way too long.
Yeah, it really did. And again, the timing from DNS was very nice. And even a flash collected at the very end there by Peter onto Scout. So there's no flash for Scout. And your only peel is really Alistair unless Sponge is going to sit on top of you. So got to be careful about the follow-up engage from Peter onto Scout.
Peter's having such a good game on this Rakan. He's 100% KP. He's the real major form of engage, the only one who could set up fights or peel, and he's been doing both. You know, he's setting up fights, but defending the dive exactly where he needs to be at all times. King will finally, I think, get the second turret with all of this wave and ghouls and a maiden, surely.
And the whole team's here again. Yeah, still a Kali, by the way. You got to be careful, but no. They're not going to be. We got a TP coming in, closer, trying to keep them around. It's now Peter looking for the engage. The knockup is perfect from Lehens. Equalizer gets some value, but I don't know if they have the damage. As Sponge looks for the kill on a Charvel, immediately gets taken out by Duckdom. The chase is on to Kingin, and so that'll be a couple of kills for the DNS carries.
Diablo isn't there. He just isn't there. You know, they needed that damage, I think. And it's the same story. Again, they almost were able to turn that into a successful dive. It's an even trade. But I think Nongshim were looking for so much more than that. It's like Diablo might be able to get this turret, not quite able to. Doesn't want to fight Fed Duckdom. Extremely Fed Duckdom, by the way. About to buy IE Duckdom as third item here in this game. So Peter once again over here. Now Lens does have a really heroic play here. I mean, that couldn't have been a better knockup. Like, that was actually kind of insane with the Cyclone following. But they don't have damage. Because right now, Diablo's in base. He's not here. They don't have enough damage. Duckdom has the fast rotation. Duckdom is fed, but he has been way more where he needs to be this game, I think, than Diablo has so consistently. And that's a big problem.
Yeah, it just feels like DNS have a better read on when these fights are going to break out and how they're going to win them and what advantages they have, like the TP advantage there. Scout was like 10, 15 seconds away from his TP when that fight broke out in the bottom lane, so yeah, it's pretty rough. We do have this Chemtech Drake about to spawn in 30 seconds. It's not a back-breaking soul, but certainly one, as with Double Dragon, you'll want to pick up if you are Nongshim for your Yorick.
Yorick enjoys it, yeah.
Yeah, even your Wukong is pretty good. The 2 carries are very squishy, so I don't know how much value they're going to get out of that. Probably just going to get burst down before they do much with it. As the Rift Heralds.
Double TPs to try to defend this.
Oh, nice. Driving here from Charvel, but he is going to get knocked up. Immediately jumps in the air, and now Nongshim are totally in a rough spot as Closer is behind them. They take down 1, they take down 2, and Diablo's trying to kite it out as Ingo Sponge just trying to peel. But look at the health bars of Nongshim. Peter follows up for another kill, and it's 20 minutes in. DNS take a giant fight.
I mean,
Yeah, me too, Wolf.
Okay, no, he's fine.
No, he's not. No, maybe you can make that sound again. I think that's kind of what Nongshim are.
So Kingan's had a great series, okay? The early Kled lane wasn't great, but he was able to defend right. Great in game 2. This double TP to Ghoulie Wall play, first of all, it doesn't even work. And then they just full send it into this Rakan again. How is this Rakan getting so much value? The Equalizer comes down, and Diablo is just so far behind. Where's the damage? There isn't any damage. Then their whole game plan is, we're going to put a Ghoulie Wall up, and we're going to commit a double TP. Now you lost 2 TPs, and you lost 5 people. You lost the game, and it's back-to-back wins, it looks like, here for DNS. Now, they haven't won the game yet, technically speaking, but I think effectively this game just ended.
And Charvel, what he said, if I heard that correctly, was that is the level of a Worlds finalist bottom lane. So really cool stuff as they get the shout out as well. And this fight is just a wash. I mean, Diablo's frontlining as everybody kind of jumps into Yorick and Syndra. Not the best in terms of execution, but it might just work as they're ham-fisting it big time. Duckdom looking for the penta, but the knockback from Scout will deny it for now. And Nongshim, it looks like their backs are broken at this point. DNS have a huge snowball going.
Man, Peter, I think I might have to vote for him, Valdez. He's had such a good game.
I think you have to anyway, just to make up for not voting for him in Kespec Cup. Duckdom, okay, nice little play here by Scout.
Duckdom's laughing it off. It's his first death of the game.
It's 1,080 gold though.
It is a big deal. 23.5 minutes in, or 22.5 minutes in. Peter is 100% kill participation this game on this recon. He had such a big responsibility in this game, and he is absolutely living up to it. Sharva will deny Sponge the steal here, and so no soul point for Nongshim. And I mean, Sharva knows what's going on. Like, Duckdom, I think, is the vote that most people are looking at right now. But Peter, again, he's back here. Yes, it's a good play from Lehens to keep him out, but he traps Sponge. Sponge can't really get in with the team. So much damage is done before he can actually make that impact. The equalizer's hitting everybody. Sharvels get resets with Duckdom setting him up. Duckdom is just so fed. And Scout does deny him here and then deny him a second time. So denies his penta, then takes all his bounty gold.
Yeah, I mean, does he say anything here? No, just
red buff, baby.
Yep, he's going to feel good about that. Now Dudu by himself in the top lane. Not sure how this happens.
Not
the
necessarily.
River, Sharvel is dead. 2 kills now for Nongshim. They're only 4,000 gold behind, guys. This is still a game.
I mean, it's 4.8. Okay. I mean,
round
my
it
prediction
down.
talking, but I still think they're in a good spot. And a lot of people were nearby. You know, it's a good punish here. Mega Cone, getting them in there faster before the rest of DNS can show up. Sharvel's Mega Coning in response, and then it finds out he didn't really want to do that. Doesn't really have time to flash away. I think he had a small window there, but doesn't want to use his flash. They're still ahead. There was no objective that anyone was fighting over right there. Small dip in the gold graph. I get it, production. I know you guys didn't predict DNS in this series, but I do think that if we see 1 or 2 more fights go this way, though, I mean, this is a really strong Yorick that actually still has a gold lead in this game. The shutdown went over to Scout. He's pretty big, too, and, you know, they can team fight. The scaling late game AD carry of Diablo has been a bit sleepy this game. He's 4,000 gold behind, but he might get there if given enough resources. And maybe if they can deny a Peter engage, maybe they just don't lock Diablo down. He just ricochets his way to turning this game around. I see what you're putting down, Valdez.
Yeah, I'm definitely putting that down. And, I mean, Diablo's 3 items. He's becoming a champion here. He's still very far behind as, yeah, we just had that finish on, it looks like the GA.
Yes.
Yeah, of Duckdom. So, goes for that. Had the crit cloak. I thought maybe we were going to see some penetration, but not going to happen just yet. And Nongshim, I mean, now they're playing like they've got a real shot here. And
the scuttle fight.
As Peter's going to go in, it's not as clean of an engage as we've seen so far. As Closer is dead, and Dudu TP's in just to get exhausted, and he's on the run. Duckdom's like, uh-oh, I got to get out of here. That's Wukong. That's really scary. The engage from Lehens is big, but the follow-up is weak. They are going to get a couple at least, and the stun comes in onto Duckdom.
He's going to die.
He is dead, and the push is happening in mid. Sharvel has to try to end it. Does pick up one. Nearly gets another as the plant saves Scout's life.
And Closer is up in 20 here with no ultimate. Diablo is a Sivir. They have so much damage. Let's see if they decide to actually full send it here. It's not, he doesn't have enough damage to actually break through. In fact, they're even going to leave this inhibitor turret up. But why is Closer is learning what Cyclone does in real time in this engage? Sponge is right there. He's literally right there. He was right on top of that back line. And Duckdom uses his ult here to avoid that really well-placed scatter. So now he's just like, I don't know if I can really do much here. Then Lehens gets the massive knock-up. And DuckDom's like, I'm fed. It's fine. I've got GA. But Scout is just so massive that he's like, you're half health. And now you're at 0 health. Watch me do it again, by the way. And Starvel saves the game here. Maybe he does not actually get that kill. I think they probably do, in fact, just end. He almost gets Scout as well. So it was a great call from him in that really tense moment. And now that lead for DNS is basically dead in the water. Production, this is not that bro game kind of. We don't need to do that again. You know, we don't need to show that again.
I think it's okay.
That, you know,
it happened so much quicker than the bro game too. Like that one was a slow and steady burn, and obviously a big throw in the moment in the base. But yeah, this is turned around so quickly. My head is still spinning.
Peter, no flash, but he's got his ult.
No Shimmer in the pit. I mean, they have to be careful. DNS are still. This is still an even game. You still have to position correctly, but everybody's burning to the equalizer. As now, trying to get in the pit here as Sharply gets in and steals the Baron away! As a trade of mid laner, Spunch in a bit of trouble. They're looking for Diablo. He's the main character, and he should go down here to Sharvel as he does hit the deck. And DNS are not out of it yet.
No, it's a crazy steal from Sharvel on the Mega Cone. Comes in for the angle of surprise, gets the burst and the smite, and down goes the Baron. And with DuckDom still alive here, they are going to try to push to end this. Death timers are so long. Nobody's alive here for Nongshim. And I think they have enough here to push this through. Going to clear this wave. 20 seconds on Diablo, 15 on Scout. Scout has no ultimate, but it's going to actually come up right before he gets response. But I just don't think they can defend. There's just too much damage. Here comes Lehens.
Yeah, just going to get zoned away. And it was a roller coaster ride. But it looks like the game should end here. Trying to auto the Nexus. They're trying to auto the Nexus, Wolf. Peter's trying to auto the Nexus. And a TP comes in, and Kozer ends the game. DNS have a lot of fun with it. They send their fans on a very nice roller coaster ride, but they still win the game.
Very close game of League of Legends, which looked initially like it was not going to be the case. As a few mistakes do keep the DN Supers honest in this one. But Duckers is real. Peter is real. The world finalists may not be able to turn their season around here. They may not be able to go to play-ins, but they can at least ruin the day of every Rise group they face, and now twice in a row on the Nongshim, who, if they beat T1 or T1's Challengers roster, we don't even know who's going to Daejeon, could face them. They could face them again a third time in a best of 5 to lift a Kespa Cup trophy. They 2-0'd Gen G just 2 days ago. They played back-to-back series then, played last night, played again today, and maybe it's just the fact that these guys are playing so many important tournament games back-to-back. It's given them a little bit of extra energy. But we always have to ask the question, why so late? Why so late into the season? When it matters the least, they show up again big.
It's hard to say. I mean, we have our theories, and we've seen a bit of it over the course of the year where they play so much better online, and, you know, we've had coaching changes, we've had jungle changes. Definitely a lot of things have been tried for the DNS roster, and they're not on top of the world, as you mentioned. They can't even do that anymore, but they probably feel like they're on top of the world with how they're finally winning. And even if it's just in Rise Group, it doesn't matter, because when you're losing the entire year, to finally have some consistent success outside of just one game, and actually get a couple, string them together, it feels so good.
Sponge was just a stray death in this one, trying to help him come over and salvage that. Peter had such a phenomenal game of con here.
Lehens had a really good game at Alice.
Yeah, he did. I mean, outside of some early game mistakes,
yeah,
really did. I mean, I had the whole use your head joke early on, but he had some great interrupts. This play here was incredible, and a big part of why Nongshim were able to almost come back and win this game without Sharvel getting that ult. I mean, watch how close it gets here. Like, DuckDom gets burst again. They kill King, and that's a Yorick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Yorick can hit the turret. I think they lose the game. Look at the steal from Charvel over the wall. Now the fight's super split for Nongshim. The equalizer did so much work.
Yeah. And Sponge was tanking a lot of damage. He was super low when the steal came in, so he only got one cyclone off. It was kind of... I think the play to go for the Baron there and try to turn... It didn't even look like they had a good plan on
They
the
didn't have a
turn.
good read on the plan.
They were just like, oh, now we're stuck. Uh-oh. So it was a crazy game. It was an emotional game for both teams.
Now, Closer respawning and TPing in here to actually finish it is really funny. Because they're like, okay, hit it. But then Lehen stops Charvel here for a moment. Charvel goes untargetable, so doesn't have that anymore. And Scout is so big, he just bursts him down. Peter gets knocked up.
He's like, it's over, right?
Like, if Closer didn't have TP, for example,
Yeah.
maybe they actually, the game goes on, which is wild. And let's see who ends up getting up POM here. I think
Duck Tom's gonna get it. I don't know if it's the right vote, but he had a great series, right? I do think though that he will get it. Wolf, unfortunately, even if you did vote for Peter or even Charvel.
Vote for Duck Tom, actually.
Oh, well.
Sorry, Peter. Duck Tom is
case,
too much.
Yeah. Well, let's see who does pick up the POM. It will be Duck Tom, his first time this year. He goes to the World Finals, joins DNS, doesn't get a POM until August 12th.
He did get 2 POGs yesterday, but yeah, it's his first POM, and I think he deserves it. His Ziggs was pretty incredible, and obviously in that last game played a huge role. That flash pullback. He and Peter, if you could vote for both of them, like if we could have both of them on stage for the interview, I wish we could, but that's just not how it works, Valdez.
Yeah, I wish we could. It is going to be Duck Tom, and of course, Deer for the translation. Take it away.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Deer for the POM interview translation, joined by Duck Tom on the side of DN Supers. Congratulations. Thank you.
승리 진심으로 축하드립니다. 농심에게 고춧가루를 또 한번 팍팍 뿌리게
A big
됐습니다.
congrats.
소감 들려주시죠.
It looks like that was another spoiler for Nongshim. So how do you feel?
시즌이 끝나고 이렇게 돼서 좀 아쉬운데 그래도 남은 경기들 다
Well, the season is over for us, and you know, it is a little disappointing, but I think for our remaining matches, we're gonna pull as much spoilers as possible.
올해 LCK 첫 POM이기도 합니다.
It's been a long time since we get to see you on the interview zone, and this is actually your first LCK POM of the year. So how does it feel to get the POM? You know, this is such a late POM, so I'm sorry for all the fans that have been waiting. I want to make sure that I'm able to get POMs for the rest of the matches. And Jarvel actually said that you treat him to steak every time he gets POM, so now that you are the POM, who's buying today? I mean, I don't think I can let him buy me steak, so I think I'll just use my own funds to fund my own steak today. Are you going to buy for your teammates? Well, let me think about that. And from the Nongshim match in round 3 to Caspa Cup, and today you guys are on a 5-match winning hype, so what is the secret? You know, I think ever since Charvel has joined us, I think we have a really clean shot calling, and we're able to sort of keep on winning. And in game 2, the enemy took Dr. Mundo and Locke, a bunch of high-value champions. So what strength were you trying to capitalize off of?
위험하다고 생각 들었는데 상대가 좀 잘 죽어줘서 다행인 것
You know,
같습니다.
we actually tried to make sure that our top can stay a little safe, but we kind of failed at trying to get our Jace to be fed and funnel him, so it just felt a little dangerous, but I think in the end we were able to get a lot of kills on the enemy top lane, so I think that's why. And it looks like you got a solo kill against the Yunara, so what happened here?
딱 그렇게 플레이했던 것 같습니다.
Well, with my E just being on top side, and I just tried to make sure that I can lock the enemy movement so that he cannot go top. So I actually used my W after just so that I can knock her into the wall, and I just saw that angle to actually get that kill. And so it looks like you had such an amazing performance in Game 3. Sharble actually gave you a shout out saying World's Finalist Spot Duo. So were you actually pretty satisfied? Honestly, for the most part, I was pretty happy. I really tried to go for that pentakill, and and after that, we actually ended up all dying. So I think I just have to make sure that I don't take that much of a risk anymore. And so, how does it feel to play with Sharble? What kind of player does he feel like? I mean, he's actually quite noisy. He's such a he's actually such a yapper, and I think he is the key, I guess, example of a MZ, zoomer player. And in the last 4v5 team fight that you lost in Game 3, we weren't quite sure that you can actually end in front of the Nexus 2. So did you guys just know that you would win? I'm not sure. I maybe there were some doubters, but we just wanted to really just break the Nexus. So I don't think we had any doubt actually in the end. And your next opponent is BNK Furex. And given that you beat everyone but BNK Furex so far, what is your mindset? I just want to make sure that, this upcoming match, we want to make sure that we can actually get our first win against BNK Furex. And that is all from Duckdom, and back to the desk. Thank you.